What's a mystery in your life that you've never been able to solve? I bought a cheap, extremely ugly pair of sunglasses at a kiosk because I left mine at home and would be driving home with the sun in my face. Tossed them in my glove box when I arrived home. Months later, I found them on a bookcase. No big deal, probably just misremembered. Took them out to the car, opened the glove box, and there was already an identical pair there. I absolutely did not buy two pairs. Once I got lost in the woods at a national park with my dog. It was the middle of winter. I was on a trail and lost the trail. I was very lost and worried that I would be out there all night because it got dark around 4:30. My dog was off leash, but she never went too far away from me. Anyway, this deer was up ahead in the woods and just stared at us. My dog chased it and I followed the dog. Then the deer would come back and stare at us again until we chased it again. The whole time I thought I was getting more and more lost. Then, all of a sudden, there was the access road through the park. The deer was gone. The deer led us to the road and completely disappeared. I wonder if the deer was ever really there. I was in college and my stereo broke. My parents gave me $200 in cash to buy a new one. I folded up the bills into quarters and put them in my wallet. A while later I go to remove the money and it's nowhere. It was a fairly thick wad of notes and my wallet was wallet-sized. I keep pulling everything out and putting it back and the money is gone. I figured I must have been pickpocketed or something. Weeks go by and I confess to my parents that I lost the money and move on with my life. Months later, I open my wallet and the wad of cash just falls into my lap. When I told my mom, she said that sometimes the fairies will borrow something, but they'll always return when they are done, and that's the only reasonable explanation I can think of. I was home alone and was straightening up my bedroom. It was the middle of summer, and we had an evaporative cooler had to be 85 F in the house or warmer. I was facing the bedroom door when something hit me in the back. I looked down and there was a piece of ice about the size of a tube of lip gloss on the floor. No open windows, no other entrance to the room, no holes in the ceiling. Nobody else home with me. Just got hit in the back by a random piece of ice that materialized out of nowhere. I have two. First is a giant bird I saw fly over the road back around 259 in North Florida. It was late evening and my girlfriend at the time and myself were heading home from town. Back country road with a car in front and behind us, and as we got to the bottom of a hill, a bird with a wingspan greater than the road passes over us. Car in front of us panic brakes and the car behind us pulled up and asked something along the lines of, "Please tell me you saw that too." This thing had to have had a 15 ft wingspan and I've searched for years to explain it, but nothing fits. Second was a late night. My friends and I snuck out to go drinking during teenage years. We were walking down a dirt road through the woods. Very dark with no lights, and it was a moonless night, when all of a sudden a ball of light starts to appear above us slightly off the road above some trees. It was like it got bigger and brighter, building up for maybe 10-15 seconds. I remember looking at the leaves on the trees and thinking it's like it's daytime out, and then just blinked out of existence. I've chalked this up to maybe ball lightning. Either way, those are two experiences I can't explain to this day and still think about often. In 1999, a guy from my college friend group bought a $100K life insurance policy naming his parents as beneficiaries, flew to Oregon, rented a car, drove to a national forest, set out on a hiking trail, and was never seen or heard from again. The mystery? His remains were never found, which wasn't particularly surprising to my friends and me, because we all firmly believe he faked his own death and started a new life somewhere else. HTTPS. I'd love to know what happened. When I was about 6, I caught the flu on a road trip with my family. We got to a hotel late that night, and when I stepped out of the car I felt a sensation like sand being poured onto me, accompanied by a weird digital water sound, then saw every grain of sand turn into changing numbers like from the Matrix movie. I had no idea about the Matrix as I was 6 years old, and since that day have had heavy dissociative sensations. I would randomly get these existential moments where I felt everything was a video game. Had my best friend from high school just completely vanish. It was to the point I was checking obituaries and mugshot papers. It's been over 15 years now. Not on social media, phone number is disconnected, parents just shrugged it off. Not sure what happened. I had a small Nikon point-and-shoot camera. I had other cameras, but this one was waterproof and I could take pictures of fish and stuff while snorkeling. And one day, I couldn't find it. I did a quick search, but couldn't find it. Every so often, I'd search again, but it seemed to have vanished. Then one day I decided I would find it. No matter what. I searched through my house from top to bottom. I lived alone, so nobody could have moved it from wherever I had last left it, so it had to be somewhere in the house. I searched every room, every closet, every box in every room, every pocket and every piece of clothing in every closet. I searched the garage and the attic, I searched my car, under the seats, between the seats, the trunk. I checked between and behind every cushion on every piece of furniture. I checked under the furniture and on top of every shelf. I went through the house like an FBI team looking for evidence of a murder. And I found nothing. It wasn't there. It was not in that house. 2 days later I come downstairs and see the camera sitting in the middle of my dining room table. There was nothing else on the table as usual, but somehow the camera had mysteriously appeared again. My maternal grandfather disappeared from his nursing home when I was 30 years ago. When I was a kid playing with child walkie-talkies in my bedroom, and an adult male voice came on saying he's in the room above the chimes. My room was above the chimes. My neighbor passed away shortly after being diagnosed with cancer. We lived in studio apartments with a shared wall. He often complained that my TV was too loud, but had a friendly relationship. I would lower the volume whenever he asked. The day after his death, I turned on my TV, and the volume control appeared on the screen, as if someone were pressing the button to decrease the sound. I was touching the remote. When I attempted to raise the volume 2 or 3 times, it automatically decreased again. This had never happened before or since. I was frightened or shocked. It felt like he was saying goodbye. I bought a Ouija sweatshirt, wore it in the sunshine, went home and looked in the bathroom mirror while the lights were off, and there was a giant glow-in-the-dark middle finger flipping me off on the stomach of the sweatshirt under the classic Ouija board design. I thought maybe it was a novelty feature of the sweatshirt that I just didn't know about, except that it never appeared again, and there's no signs of glow-in-the-dark paint or anything like that on the sweatshirt, and I can't find any evidence online of a novelty Ouija sweatshirt with a glow-in-the-dark middle finger ever existing. Facebook used to have this anonymous comment feature, and in college I received the comment, "I should have told you I liked you when I had the chance." I never figured out who it was. There was a 4-player split-screen game we used to play on the Xbox 360. If I remember correctly, it was a game similar to Smash. You could also play it via bots. I still can't remember the name, and neither can the people I played it with. Edit. After searching again, I was able to finally find it. It was called Kung Fu Chaos. Driving home from work one night, out in the country with not much around, and am about to cross over a small bridge. On the other side of the bridge, a bright light, like a spotlight pointed at the ground from the sky, shows up on the far side of the bridge. I was trying to look around to see where the light was coming from as I was about to drive into it, and couldn't find a source. As I drove into the light, my car completely died. Everything sort of flickered and shut off, and I came to a stop. I rolled down the window and stuck my head out. The light was gone and I couldn't see anything around. It was quiet too, so not like it was a helicopter. I got the car to start back up and saw my watch had also stopped. I drove home and that was it. Never figured it out. My mom and dad were coming home from church. My dad was blind, so he didn't see this, just heard it. Driving down the road, he said she took a quick deep breath and hit something on the road. She then went into a ditch and the car crashed into a creek bed. The impact lacerated her liver and she died there. Dad broke some ribs, but managed to climb on the car and wave his cane until someone spotted him. I want to know what she saw hit and why she didn't stop in the ditch. Something happened to my mother in the middle 80s. She had a car, license, enjoyed life. After, never drove again. Never owned a car again. Would rarely ever go anywhere alone. Most of my childhood we relied on our grandma to take us places, groceries, etc. She took that secret to her grave, unfortunately. During WW2, my grandpa came back from his tour in the Pacific with a samurai sword. I always wondered how he acquired it, but every time I asked my uncle, he had a different story. When I was a college student, I dated a professor. It was a bad relationship for many reasons. Rules against it at school, and he was terrified of getting caught. Someone reported to the dean that professor was in a relationship with a student, which turned out to be only the latest in a series over his entire teaching career. Learned in the subsequent title Roman 9 case I open. Spooked him. We broke up. Probably saved my life with the path I was heading down. Still don't know who reported to the school. I wish I could thank them.